Imagine, just for a second, zooming in on a single tip of a hair.
Oh, like putting it under a high-powered microscope.
Yeah, exactly. You bring it under this microscope and you're expecting to see, a jagged edge of keratin or maybe some microscopic skin cells.
Right, just normal biological stuff.
But as you keep zooming in, the cellular structure just totally dissolves.
Okay.
And instead of empty space or atoms, you see an entire infinite universe just looking right back at you.
Wow. That is quite the image.
Right. Galaxies, oceans, mountains, whole civilizations, all perfectly contained within that microscopic point, just completely unobstructed.
It honestly sounds like something out of a modern theoretical physics paper, like string theory or holographic universes.
Exactly what I thought.
What?
But it's not. It is actually a concept from a text that is over 1,000 years old.
It's just a stunning visual, and what is most remarkable about it is that this isn't just some, isolated metaphor.
Yeah.
It's the foundational physics of an entire worldview. We are looking at a real attempt to put into words an experience that completely shatters the boundaries of normal human perception.
Which is exactly why we're here. So welcome to today's deep dive. Today we are plunging into translated excerpts from an absolute masterpiece of ancient literature for you.
It really is a masterpiece.
Specifically, we are looking at chapter 1 of the Avatamsaka Sutra. It's titled The Wondrous Adornments of the Rulers of the Worlds.
Yeah.
And the specific translation we're working with today is by Siksananda of Khotan.
A phenomenal translation, by the way.
It really is. Now, our mission today for you listening is not to give you some dry, chronological religious history lesson. We want to explore this text as a piece of just mind-bending cosmic imagery.
Because usually, when we think about the moment of ultimate awakening, we tend to picture someone sitting in a perfectly silent, empty cave.
Yeah, we think of total isolation.
Exactly. The classical Western assumption of deep realization often revolves around retreat. You step away from the noise of the physical world to find this quiet void.
But the Avatamsaka Sutra throws that assumption completely out the window. It proposes that the exact moment of enlightenment is not a quiet retreat at all. It's this multi-sensory, infinite explosion of reality.
It's incredibly loud, conceptually speaking.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to even begin to grasp what is happening to the Buddha in this text, we have to look at the physical space he is occupying.
Yeah, the setting is absolutely crucial here. The environment is basically the author's way of signaling to the reader that the normal laws of time and space and matter, really, they just no longer apply.
So according to the source material, the location is the Magadha kingdom at the Aranya Bodhimanda.
And Aranya basically means wilderness, right?
Yeah, wilderness is the place of awakening. But this physical description is unlike literally any wilderness on Earth. It says the ground itself is made entirely of solid diamond, or Vajra.
Right, a literal diamond floor.
And sitting on that ground is the Bodhi tree. But it doesn't have bark or green leaves. The trunk is made of diamond.
Incredible.
The branches are solid Lapis Lazuli. The leaves are crafted from precious jewels, and they are so dense they provide shade, like massive glowing clouds.
The sensory overload there is very deliberate. It's forcing you to just abandon your everyday visual references.
And it goes even further than that. The tree is constantly dropping mani jewels and jewel flowers. It's creating this sparkling, continuous rain.
It's such a dynamic scene.
And inside these glowing mani jewel fruits hanging from the tree, this is the crazy part, there are actual bodhisattvas.
Right, other awakened beings.
Yes, gathered together, floating inside the jewels like clouds. And the tree itself is emitting endless sounds, constantly teaching the Dharma, the cosmic law.
It's so layered.
When I read this, my brain immediately went to like a highly advanced virtual reality environment.
Oh, that's an interesting way to think about it.
Like a massive complex simulation where the code isn't trying to mimic a dirty forest, but is instead rendering pure data. Or actually maybe a mathematical fractal.
A fractal is a very useful analogy for this because what defines a mathematical fractal is self-similarity.
Right.
When you look at the whole shape, it has a certain pattern, but when you zoom in on a tiny microscopic piece of the edge, that exact same pattern is repeating itself infinitely.
So there's no fundamental difference between the macro and the micro.
Exactly.
But I need to stop you there for a second because I'm struggling with the core imagery here.
Okay, what's tripping you up?
Well, if the Buddha is achieving a state of complete non-attachment, like fully letting go of worldly desires, why is the author describing the scene with unimaginable material wealth?
Ah, I see what you mean.
It reads like a billionaire's fever dream. Oceans of diamonds, lapis lazuli, endless jewels everywhere. Isn't that totally contradictory to the whole point of a monk in a forest?
What's fascinating here is that we really have to detach these words from our modern economic understanding.
So it's not about being rich.
Not at all. The text is absolutely not talking about material wealth in the way we think of, hoarding gold or real estate.
Okay.
In the cultural and symbolic context of the Avatamsaka Sutra, these precious materials actually represent the nature of the awakened mind itself.
So a diamond isn't valuable because you can sell it to a jeweler down the street.
Exactly. Think about why a diamond is significant in the ancient world.
Because it's hard.
Because it is luminous, it is perfectly clear, and most importantly, it is indestructible. The Vajra, that diamond ground, it represents a foundation of reality that cannot be destroyed by ignorance or decay or time.
It cuts through everything else but cannot be cut.
Yes.
Wow, okay, that really reframes the whole scene for me. So this forest isn't a geographical location on a map of ancient India that we could, go dig up with a shovel.
No, not at all. It is a direct projection of an awakened state.
Got it.
When the mind is entirely clear and free of illusion, the text is essentially arguing that reality itself is perceived as luminous, indestructible, and infinitely rich.
So when you strip away the filter of human anxiety and our basic survival instincts, the dirt isn't just dirt anymore.
Right. Everything becomes significant. Everything glows.
Okay, so if the physical environment is no longer bound by material limitations, then the mind perceiving that environment can't be bound by a physical body either.
That is the logical next step, yes.
Which naturally forces us to look at how this text describes the Buddha himself, sitting at the center of this diamond forest. Because the description here completely abandons biology.
Totally. He essentially becomes as vast as the environment he is sitting in.
Yeah, the text says he sits on a vast lion throne made of many jewels and lotus nets. But his physical state is what really duns the mind.
How so?
It says his state spans the past, the present, and the future equally. His body fills all worlds. He's described as being like space itself, containing all images without any discrimination, just pervading absolutely everything.
The chronological aspect you just mentioned is key here. Spanning past, present, and future equally means time has basically stopped functioning as a linear river that pushes him forward.
He's stepping outside of time.
Exactly. He is experiencing the entirety of time simultaneously.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. And this ties back to that image I asked you to picture at the very beginning of our deep dive.
The hair tip.
Yes, the hair tip. The text explicitly states that every single hair tip on the Buddha's body contains all worlds without any obstruction. I want to spend some time on this because all worlds in a hair tip is a massive, heavy concept.
It's hard to wrap your head around.
It really is. It made me think of how hologram functions.
The hologram analogy is probably the closest modern equivalent we have to explain this. Let's actually break down how a physical hologram works compared to a normal photograph.
Right, so if I have a traditional printed photograph of an apple and I cut that photograph in half, I now have two separate pieces of paper. One has the left side of the apple, one has the right side.
Exactly, you're splitting the image.
And if I cut it down to a tiny square, I might just have a picture of the apple's stem.
But a holographic plate doesn't capture light the way a standard camera does. It actually captures an interference pattern of light waves.
Okay.
So if you take a holographic plate displaying an apple and you shatter it into 100 pieces and then shine a laser through just one tiny microscopic shard of that glass.
You don't see just a piece of the apple.
No, you see the entire three-dimensional apple. The complete blueprint of the whole exists inside every single microscopic fragment.
Man. So, without having the vocabulary of interference patterns and quantum states, these ancient authors were trying to communicate that exact structural reality.
It seems that way, yes.
That the tiniest imaginable physical point, the tip of a hair, contains the blueprint of the entire cosmos.
Yes. They used the hair tip because it was literally the absolute smallest physical metric they could reference at the time.
That is just brilliant. But I'm still getting tripped up on the physical geometry of this.
Yeah.
That the text also states that he spans the 10 directions, which basically means everywhere, all points in space, but he does it without coming or going.
Right.
How can a being exist everywhere at once without actually expanding or, traveling to get there?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look at the profound psychological shift happening here. What the text is illustrating is the complete dissolution of the ego.
Okay.
It's the shift from a dualistic mindset to a non-dualistic one.
let's pause there for a second. Before we define non-dualistic, how should we understand a dualistic mindset?
Duality is essentially how you and I navigate everyday life. There is a fundamental separation between me and everything else.
Like, I am the subject and the microphone in front of me is the object.
Exactly. And if I want to interact with the door on the other side of the room, I have to travel through space from point A to point B to reach it. That is duality, separation.
Okay, so non-duality is erasing that line.
Precisely. If the boundary between the observer and the observed completely vanishes, then you aren't a person sitting inside the universe looking at it anymore.
What are you then?
You are the fabric of the universe itself. You don't have to go anywhere to be part of everything, because there is no there to go to. There is only here. The macrocosm and the microcosm are revealed to be the exact same thing.
Which perfectly explains the hair tip.
Huh.
If distance and size are just illusions created by a dualistic brain trying to survive, then an entire galaxy and a single hair tip take up the exact same amount of fundamental space.
Which is zero space.
Zero space, wow.
They're just different expressions of the same underlying unobstructed reality. You have to stop picturing a giant physical man stretching his arms out to cover the solar system. The text is saying his awareness has simply stopped drawing borders.
So, if the Buddha's awareness has expanded to become the universe itself, and he's waking up in this quantum state where all time is simultaneous, he's not alone in a forest anymore.
Definitely not.
In fact, the text provides a guest list for this moment of awakening. And if I is the universe, then this isn't just a list of people arriving at an event. This is a list of the universe waking up alongside him.
It is an incredibly comprehensive catalog of reality. It leaves absolutely no stone unturned.
It's staggering. Let's actually look at who is there, according to the source. It starts with an unimaginable number of bodhisattvas, including famous ones like Samantabhadra.
Right.
And the text quantifies them by saying they are as numerous as the atoms in 10 Buddha worlds.
Just an unfathomable scale.
Yeah. But then it shifts from enlightened beings to the raw elements of nature. It lists gods representing earth, mountain, forest, medicine, crop, river, ocean, water, fire, wind, space, direction, night and day.
And we really shouldn't think of these as just, guys in togas controlling the weather.
No.
In ancient cosmology, these deities represent the fundamental animating forces of the physical world.
That makes sense. And beyond the physical elements, we get into the heavy mythological archetypes. The text lists the Asuras, the Garudas, the Kinnaras, Maharagas, Yakshas, dragons, Kumhandas, and Gandharvas.
A full pantheon.
Yeah. And finally, it lists the Devas, the heavenly kings from realms like the sun, the moon, Brahma, and the 33 Devas. Honestly, reading this feels like sitting in a theater watching the end credits of a 3-hour epic movie.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
But instead of reading Grip and Lighting Assistant, you're reading Universally Swift Current River God and Jewel Peak Blooming Flower Mountain God.
Let's actually take a second with these mythological names, because to a modern listener, it might just sound like a random fantasy novel.
Yeah, it kind of does.
But to the original audience, these beings carried very specific psychological and cultural weight.
Can you break a couple of them down for us? Like, what is a Garuda, for instance?
So a Garuda in traditional Indian mythology is a massive, powerful, bird-like creature. And crucially, they are the mortal enemies of the Nagas, or the dragon serpent beings.
Okay, so they represent, like, predatory power and elemental conflict.
Exactly.
And what about the Asuras?
The Asuras are essentially titans or demigods, but they are defined by their fatal flaw, which is intense jealousy and a constant warlike drive to overthrow the heavenly gods. They represent the toxic, destructive side of ambition and anger.
But the text specifically points out that in this assembly, the Asuras have entirely overcome their arrogance.
Right.
And the Garudas aren't fighting the dragons anymore. Everyone is completely pacified.
And that is the genius of this guest list. It isn't just showing off a big crowd. It is taking every conceivable aspect of existence, the dirt, the ocean, but also the human psychological extremes of anger, jealousy, and fear represented by these monsters.
And it's pulling them all into a state of harmony.
Yes.
And they aren't just standing around singing praises either. This is the part that really caught me off guard. The text assigns them specific functional jobs in this awakened reality.
Yes. Pay close attention to the verbs the authors use here.
Okay, the text says the wind gods are actively scattering the mind of arrogance.
Notice that.
The fire gods are destroying fiery, painful afflictions. The medicine gods are healing and granting clear vision. The dragon kings are making rain, specifically to extinguish the heat of suffering. The night gods are protecting beings and giving them joy.
This raises an important question for you to consider.
Who's here?
Why take the time to exhaustively list every single element of nature, every mythological monster, every heavenly being, and give them a job to do?
I have to admit, it really challenges my basic understanding of what this text is about.
How so?
Because, as we discussed earlier, the mainstream idea of enlightenment is all about escaping the messy physical world.
It's a silent cave.
Exactly. So why invite the dirt, the rain, and the wind to the ultimate spiritual awakening? Why bring the angry demigods? Shouldn't a truly enlightened mind just leave the crop gods and the river gods behind?
If you take away anything from this deep dive, let it be this. The ultimate takeaway of the Avatamsaka Sutra is that true awakening is not an escape hatch.
It's not.
It is not anti-world. It is about total integration.
So you don't just, vaporize into a peaceful void.
Quite the opposite. By meticulously listing every force of nature and every psychological archetype, the text is declaring that the awakened state includes absolutely everything.
Nothing is discarded.
Right. When that boundary between self and other dissolves, when you realize you are the environment, every single element of the universe becomes a tool for active compassion.
Oh, wow. So the wind isn't just a weather pattern anymore. It is a force that can be utilized to scatter arrogance.
Yes.
The fire isn't just combustion, it is the active burning away of suffering.
Exactly. The universe is completely mobilized. The ultimate realization isn't that the world is an illusion to be ignored. It's that the world is a deeply connected web where every single part has a role to play in relieving the suffering of all beings.
That is a profound flip to the script. The cosmic awakening isn't the moment you finally exit the universe. It's the moment you finally understand how to use the entire universe to help others.
It demands that we see reality not as a collection of isolated competing objects, but as a unified system of purpose. Even the demons and the monsters find their highest function in this state.
What an incredible journey this text takes us on. Just think about the sheer scale of what we've covered today.
It's a lot to take in.
We started by walking into a conceptual wilderness where the ground was indestructible diamond and the trees rained luminous jewels, which, as we learned, is a perfect projection of an unbreakable, clear mind.
And then we encountered a figure who transcended biology to become a quantum consciousness.
Right, experiencing all of time simultaneously, where a single microscopic hair tip holds the blueprint of infinite universes.
And finally, we witness a cosmic royal where the sky, the dirt, the mythical monsters, and the stars themselves all gathered.
Not to stand by in silent awe, but to actively work together to extinguish human suffering.
It is a breathtaking piece of literature that pushes human language to its absolute breaking point to describe the indescribable.
It really is. And that brings us to a final thought we want to leave you with today. The Avatamsaka Sutra argues so beautifully that the macro is entirely contained within the micro, that an infinite number of universes can exist right there, completely unobstructed, within a single hair tip.
It's a beautiful thought.
If we take that metaphor seriously, then the very space you are sitting in right now as you listen to this, the air you are currently breathing, the totally mundane objects surrounding you, whether it's your desk, your steering wheel, your coffee cup, they aren't just ordinary disconnected things.
No, they are part of that exact same luminous, infinitely connected cosmic web.
So what if you tried, just for today, to look at your immediate everyday surroundings through that specific lens?
I love that challenge.
What if you tried to see the supernova hidden inside the quiet light bulb? Try to view the ordinary, sometimes frustrating world around you as tiny, infinite pieces of that exact same diamond-bright reality. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
It's been an absolute privilege exploring this with you. Take care.